Well, the wifey was vacuuming the house today, and the smell of burned rubber and some smoke started coming out of it, which is usually a clear indication that the belt on the vacuum itself is broken or very near to breaking. And so she asked me to come fix it. I highly recommend doing this at home. You don't need to bring this into a vacuum repair place. This is a very easy fix. So all you really need to do, and this is our vacuum, just a Carpet Pro heavy duty, but most of them will be very similar. You just need to turn it upside down, and there's usually a metal plate on these, like this one here, and it's usually just attached by a couple of screws. I've already loosened them, but you're going to want to take the screws out, and this is going to pop out here. You should be able to get that off. And the belt's going to be running right here. It runs to the roller, and it comes back here to another pin that's attached to the motor, and that's what makes this rotate. That's what causes the vacuum to suck the things up. And sure enough, I have a new one in there, but as soon as I open that, this broken one here was sitting there. So it's usually a good idea to have another belt on hand in case this happens. If your house gets messy like ours with 5 little kids, a vacuum is an essential part of every day. So I put that back on. It's really not a big problem at all. All you really need to do is take the belt there and you slide it back onto that pin, and you slide this part onto here, and you actually use the roller to stretch the belt out to where it needs to go, and you pop that back into place. But we had an added difficulty tonight that even after I got the new belt on and we started it, there was still smoke coming, and it was burning hot right here, which tells me it's probably not a problem with the motor, but it's a problem with the roller itself. And so what I did is you need to make sure that these rollers are completely clean. Sometimes you can suck up hair and strings and even rubber bands, and what that will do, it will cause the roller to not be able to freely move, and it's going to overheat and it's going to start smoking. So I got all of the inside, or the outside cleaned up, but I noticed when I turned this, it wasn't turning very smoothly. And so what I did to take care of that is to actually get into the internal workings of the roller itself. You come up here on top, and there's a little cotter pin. You just got to pull the cotter pin out, and you can pop this cap off. And you'll see in here, there's this moving rod, and when I push that out, I can bring it down here. You can actually see, and this would have been you would not be able to get that without taking that pin out. And when you pull that out, you can see that all kinds of string has gotten worked in right there. And so what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get all that string. Look at all that. Unbelievable. You're going to need to get all that string. It's actually attached to a washer there. It's almost melted on. What I'm going to need to do, I'm going to shut this off in a minute, but what you need to do is you need to get all that string out to make sure that this is then running smoothly. Make sure that everything's back in place. And once you do that, you should be able to replace the cap and slide that cotter pin right back in there. You might also find that there's a spring in there, and so you're not going to want to forget that. You want to make sure that the spring is put on before you put the cotter pin and hold the cap on. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that, and that should take care of the vacuum. And once I do that, I'll just put the belt on, and it should be good as new.